All right, Guru Nation, you asked for it. Actually, you didn't ask for it. Jaime asked for it. So the story of this is that we were at SOS and longtime SOS faithful, longtime Guru Nation fan. We have
Really?
Dr. Ramaswamy out there in North Carolina. He's a pulmonary specialist, and he's really, when it comes to like these specialty diseases and rare diseases, when it comes to the lungs and pulmonary medicine, he's like one on the forefront of that stuff. And Jaime and I just started getting into that like a year and a half ago, really, with Dr. Shaw, who was talking with Dr. Ramaswamy off the air, but he had to go. We're learning more about pulmonary. I've never done really too many pulmonary trials. I've done asthma here and there, but not a real like business built around pulmonary. And so that was the connection we made at SOS. And Jaime, who's our sub-I nurse practitioner, wanted to learn a lot more. And I introduced him to Dr. Ramaswamy, and the two hit it off. And we got this mini podcast here. So I'll let you take it away, Jaime.
Well, thank you, Dr. Ramaswamy, for taking some time to talking to us. And yeah, when we were in Oklahoma, somebody needed something for pain, right? And Dr. Ramaswamy was just, the Uber was taking him to the hotel, and he was like, "Oh, I got something," and he was overthrown. And I was, "Dan, who is he?" He's like, "Oh, he's Dr. Ramaswamy." So we were talking. It was so busy, right? But we wanted to learn more about pulmonology studies because we were kind of newer to it, and Dr. Ramaswamy has been doing it for a long time. So we were just gonna, talk to an expert on this, and that's why this was set up. And it's been going on for a few months where we had to kind of coordinate a time so we all can meet. So Dr. Ramaswamy, Dan will normally do this, but he asked me to. Can you just tell us about what you do? The type of research you do, and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hey, me and Dan, thanks a lot for having me today. It's an absolute pleasure. So I am Murali Ramaswamy. I'm a pulmonologist in Greensboro, North Carolina. I've been here since 2008. I'm affiliated with or employed by Cone Health, which is the largest regional health system in the area, in the community. But I also direct Pulmonx clinical trials, which is integrated research organization that serves the pulmonary needs at Cone Health. So my special clinical interest is pulmonary fibrosis. I actually have been interested in research, but I was like a bench researcher before I came to practice. So when I came to practice, clinical trials, and that was in 2008. Clinical trials was the only way you could do research, and that's how I got into clinical trials. And the first ever trial I did was with pirfenidone, which ultimately, along with nintedanib, became the first two drugs approved for fibrosis. So the first ever trial I did became a drug that worked, and it was the first set of drugs for this rare disease. So through research, it really helped open my eyes about how research can transform care in the community, can help benefit patients, can also help benefit the doctors. So I've been clinical trialist since then, with like huge focus in fibrosis trials. So that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years, really.
That's awesome. That's great. So, just to learn a little bit more, we have not done a pulmonary fibrosis study as far as pulmonology. Mainly, it's COPD and asthma so far for us. So, pulmonary fibrosis studies. I mean, I would assume the population of patients is less than, let's say, asthma or COPD, right? And then their cases can be so complex clinically. Like me that I
Right.
work in a family practice, I usually send them to the experts, which is in this case will be you
Yeah.
or like our PI here in town, Dr. Shaw.
Yeah.
And so how difficult are those studies?
Yeah, so I would say pulmonary fibrosis studies, I think historically, like, have been difficult, but I think as time has passed on, I think they are more straightforward and easier to do. For example, the first study, the ASCEND study, where the first drug, pirfenidone, was approved. I mean, the disease itself was sort of being defined at that time, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and then how to even study the disease was not clear 15 or 20 years ago. So when the first set of studies were done, it was like the endpoints were not clear, the inclusion exclusion criteria were not clear. But now it's become sort of bread and butter, cookie cutter. any sponsor who's interested in the drug, it's a very standard inclusion exclusion. So that part has become easy. Even the study procedures are very standardized now. It's PFTs, walk tests, and CT scans. So it's more standardized, more like cookie cutter now to do a fibrosis trial than in the past. So that's one. So it's a lot easier. The second is that the patient population for fibrosis has increased. So it's not as rare as it was, mainly because there's more recognition of the disease. But we also think there's more like true disease incidence going up. So it's a lot more common than it was understood to be like 10 years ago. So there's more patients. And then also the interest by sponsors in the disease is like really skyrocketed. I would say 5-7 years ago, right before COVID, maybe 1 or 2 sponsors would be interested. But like even 2 years ago, the Thoracic Society people said that, I mean, the 50-60 sponsors are interested. And so there's a lot of interest. So it's at a point now that we only can accommodate 2 sponsors or so at any given time. So sponsors are willing to go to other places looking for patients, and then so in that way it's a lot easier than it was. Now again, being a rare disease, if you're isolated pulmonary clinic that's not attached to a center, it can be hard. But I do think that there are ways to access these patients through direct consumer marketing. So you could reach out to the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation, for example. All these rare diseases have like national societies and foundations. So they will tell you who in your area is a support group leader. Okay. So you can look up the Pulmonary Fibrosis Foundation website, for example, and say, okay, Numa, who's the support group leader? And then you can reach out to that support group leader and say, hey, I want to come to your support group meeting and talk to you guys about the studies we do. And invariably, a couple of patients will be interested. Yeah. And then, of course, you have to get the records from their pulmonologist, but you can access these patients through the support groups.
Yeah.
So you can bypass physicians and access the patients. Yeah. So even though like we have a turnkey clinic, we have provided our service for patients from other health systems or other cities because we talk to the patients in the support group, and the support group guy will say, hey, like, you have this disease, and I know you from in Charlotte, and go, Dr. Ramaswamy is running a study. Go there and get your study done. So I've had patients come from 100 miles, like just through support group network. I've gone to Charlotte and gone to like the support group meeting, like, and it was located in a major hospital there, and I was able to talk to the patients because it was a support group meeting.
Interesting. One time we did something similar with an arthritis study. We were having the arthritis study, and then our coordinator was part of I think it was a church based, and then they had like the arthritis support group, and she went ahead and do that, and we haven't done that over 2 years, and that coordinator is no longer with us. But now that you're mentioning it, it's a very good strategy, especially for harder to recruit patients, right? Or subject in this case.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, even for us, this is like pulmonary hypertension. That's like we're doing some studies where they want pulmonary hypertension with pulmonary fibrosis. And one of my junior partners, he's interested in that study in that area, but the program is still new to our hospital. So it's not as mature. So we don't have that many patients, and we're finding it difficult to recruit. I mean, so at some point, we have to recognize that even at some centers, certain rare diseases are too rare. But I think fibrosis, I feel, is going to change from just, it used to be like 15 years ago when I started, the only way you can see fibrosis patients was at university Okay, so it was either be Mayo Clinic, Scottsdale, or like University of Arizona, Tucson, or San Diego, University of California, San Diego, UCSF. And when we started the pulmonary fibrosis program, they really thought even a large practice of 15 pulmonologists will not be able to see enough fibrosis patients and make ends meet or even be able to do research. But I proved it wrong, and we now run the second largest fibrosis clinic in the third largest in the two Carolinas combined, and
Oh, wow.
yeah, second largest fibrosis clinic in North Carolina. So there's just enough patients. Everybody thought it was a rare disease. So I think the prevalence is growing, and I think IPF. I think you might be pleasantly surprised that if you reach out to support groups, I think you can get these patients.
Interesting. That's it.
Yeah.
So so now, how did you start it on the research? I know you were telling us off you know off the record a little bit, but how did you
Yeah, yeah,
get this going?
yeah. So when I did research, like my mentor and senior partner, Dr. Wright, he had a little program that was doing research, but it was more set up just for him to do research and for one other doctor to do research, was one nurse, one regulatory coordinator, and it really was like more like a hobby. But then he was retiring, so we put capital in, and he also contributed. And then I started running the business, and so we've grown like maybe over 10 years, 5-7% each year, year over year, just slow growth. And So now we're supporting a couple of other doctors who are in the practice who want to do clinical trials. So we basically do the studies that the doctors are interested in. But the doctors only can handle like one or two studies at the most. I mean, I do 5-6 fibrosis studies, but the other doctors, they usually handle one or two. So one guy's interested in lung cancer diagnostics, so we do some nodule study. One guy's interested in pulmonary hypertension, so we do that. But when I started, like honestly, like I did not know much about the business. A lot of the doctors don't know even a lot of basic things about AE, SAE. So I used to listen to a lot of like I started going to YouTube, and the only resource was Dan and Guru Nation.
Right. And we're still
Yeah,
here. We're still
yeah,
here. Now we're getting in this very therapeutic area specific. I think it's very interesting that you're proving that you can build an entire business model around one therapeutic area, essentially, pulmonology.
yeah,
And are you
yeah.
ever looking to expand into other areas?
Well, the, we've never had an intentional intention around it because I've been like a full-time clinician too, but I'm making some changes, and I'm certainly like very committed to the idea of research in community and research helping doctors and helping patients. So, I mean, as a pulmonologist, I want to expand the pulmonary portfolio, but I think over the next year or two, yes, I would like to grow the program outside the boundaries of what we do right now, collaboratively or, in whatever fashion. I like teaching, for example. That's part of one of the things I reached out to you for. I'd love to train coordinators. So yeah, we'll see. Like it's nothing concretely written. Oh, this is my business plan. But having said that, I'm open to ideas for collaborative growth and doing things together, and also like seeing where the journey goes.
Okay.
Ah,
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it's actually good. Yeah, because the environment's very conducive, and I guess there's a lot of incentives for us site owners to try to expand,
Yeah.
whether geographically or via
Yeah.
therapeutic areas or both. So
Yeah.
I was
Correct. Correct.
curious. I was just personally curious. That was been our
Yeah.
motto, is just why do one therapeutic area when you can do more? And there's years
Yeah.
where, for example, psych is not so hot. And then there's other years where like internal is not hot. But if you have five specialists or so, you can kind of always have something going on and keep
Yeah,
your clinic busy.
correct, correct.
But it seems like
Yeah.
you're niche to the point where you will always be busy because just you've been around so long and you will always get considered first for a lot of these trials for pulmonary.
Yeah, because of the clinician background, and then we have a reputation as clinicians. The sponsors approach us. The way I've diversified inside the lung disease from fibrosis to pulmonary hypertension to cough to lung cancer screening, because I think fibrosis trials can slow down next year because a third drug is getting approved. So patients want to do that before they get into trials.
Yeah.
So there can be some slowdown next year. So that's why we're doing COPD, we're doing like cancer diagnostics, cough,
Mhm.
other quality of life stuff that the sponsors are interested in. But we had to say no to certain other sponsors also wanting to do IPF. We can only handle so many IPF trials. But I think the next year IPF trials are going to slow down a little bit and then it'll pick up
Why do you think so?
because there's a third new drug going to be developed. So the patients are going to want to try that before they went on trial.
I got you.
Yeah, it's
On the
called
pulmonary fibrosis, is placebo standard of treatment, or is it placebo? Is
no,
placebo?
no. There is like two drugs. One is called pirfenidone, trade name
Mhm.
Esbriet. Another is called nintedanib, trade name Ofev. Those are the two standards of care.
Yeah, but on the trial, patients already, some of them already taken. Can they still take that
Yeah, they
one
can.
or?
Yeah, yeah. No, they'll. You can have background therapy, or you can be on
Okay.
nothing. They'll allow you.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. And
Yeah.
this is more like a curiosity on my end. After COVID, have you seen a pretty good spike on pulmonary fibrosis diagnosis?
There was a little bit, but it's kind of died down, I think.
Okay. Did those patients recovered? I mean, this is not so much on the research, on the clinical, or not really.
Yeah, yeah, no, like so, no. Many of them, some of them, the survivors, some of them have residual fibrosis.
Yeah.
Some of them, the fibrosis got worse. Some of them have died. But the survivors, they're kind of stable right now.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
You see a
Yeah.
lot
So
of
did
oh, go ahead, Jaime.
yeah, I just pulmonary. Again, it's newer for us. So we noticed on the COPD and asthma, the inclusion criteria, it can be a little difficult for patients to be able to qualify. It's because it's not like any other trial. It's not just dependent on the diagnosis. It's also dependent on how well they're doing or how well
Yeah,
they are, managed or controlled, but also these other comorbidities they may have. So
yeah,
yeah,
correct.
yeah. So what I'm,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Do you
So,
do
like,
any
hey, you
sleep
have
studies?
your
Oh,
own.
sorry.
Sorry, you have your own clinic or what? Or you work
Yuma,
with Dr. Shah?
we work with Dr. Shah. He's our PI
Oh,
for
okay,
any respiratory or sleep studies. So he
okay.
would he any new studies will go through him in case he like to give us a green light to proceed with the study and apply and all
Yeah.
that. So he's a pulmonology and sleep, and he also works critical care
Oh,
in
wow.
the
Okay.
ICU. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So you work in his clinic as his nurse practitioner, or you just
No, no,
researcher?
no. I have my full time job in a family medical clinic, just general family clinic,
Mm.
and then I do here research with Dan, and we have
Okay.
other PIs too in other therapeutic areas as well.
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. Okay.
Yeah,
Makes sense.
yeah,
You see a lot
definitely.
of non when you do the cancer diagnosis, do you see a lot of non-small cell lung cancers?
Yeah, most of it is that, and then some are small, but mostly it's like a lot of biotech interest in nodules, whether the nodule is cancer or not. So they're coming up with nasal swab tests, blood tests, but so far nothing is like huge, but that's constant area of interest.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I'm just curious because I know you're not an oncologist, but there's this new technology for lung cancer where it's actually approved for melanoma, refractory melanoma, but they're trying to do it for lung cancer. It's a tumor infiltrating lymphocytes, and it's like
Yeah.
new CAR T, but it's supposedly better because a surgeon takes out 1.5 centimeter of the tumor, extracts the lymphocytes that are in there, and then they multiply them and reinfuse them back. And they've
Oh
been
my God.
showing a lot of promise with that when it comes to melanoma. It already
Yeah.
got approval, and they're about to release the phase 3 results from the
Yeah.
non-small cell lung cancer. So I'm curious to see how that
No, no, I don't do that. I've not done that. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, I mean this is interesting kind of you're gonna be on a panel at SOS. I got you on there to
Great.
speak. I believe the topic was like budgets, but it kind of correlates with your overall thesis. I see you commenting on LinkedIn or messaging about um, standard of care and those kind of things because you do work. Your situation is unique in the sense that you work within a hospital, but your site is independent,
Yeah.
not a part of the hospital, even though the office space is in the hospital. So you don't need a local IRB or any of that stuff.
Well, like because I work, that's interesting. Because I work in the hospital, because I'm a hospital employee, they claim the patients to be the hospital patients, and so we do have a local IRB,
Ah, okay.
and the local IRB usually feeds everything to the central IRB. So it really does not cause much delay. But where the problem comes is how they interpret FDA rules, not on the study side, but on employee side. Like for example, they might say that even somebody doing a phlebotomy for you have to do GCP training
Hmm.
and get on delegation. So they might make things like really ridiculously difficult.
Yeah.
Somebody doing a CT scanner or the EKG tech doing an EKG will have to do GCP training, and then the GCP training will be not like some easy GCP training. It'll be some ridiculous like 20 modules that take 10 hours.
Yeah. And I'm sure they would make them
Okay, so
do protocol
um,
training.
yeah,
Yeah, that could
yeah, but I just keep it as like just put the clip that local IRB can be bureaucratic. That's all. Leave it at that.
yeah, no, well, thank God we don't have to deal with one. I don't know if we keep
Yeah.
expanding to other places, they're eventually going to have one. But right now we're good. We have a couple opportunities outside of Yuma that we're trying to pursue.
Mm,
Some of them come with local
yeah.
IDs and others don't. So I was just personally curious.
Yeah. I
Well,
know. Well, I think the local IRB more than like the IRB itself. I think where I think nowadays it's problem. It used to be 10 years ago, local IRB took forever to approve. It took like 2 months, 3 months to approve like a study because it had to go through committees. But nowadays, local IRB just feeds everything to the central IRB. But what has happened is that they've become more like an office of research. So they will control where they get bureaucratic is how they interpret the rules
yeah.
uh, around like who can do what. For example, our health system does not have a dermatologist. So there's a study that needed a skin biopsy, so I contracted with a private dermatologist. But because I am employed at the hospital, they said that the patient belongs to the hospital. And because the patient belongs to the hospital, because the hospital's research policy, that private practicing doctor had to do uh, big modules of city training. And it's not just GCP. They have to do like biomed refresher. They have to do, yeah, yeah.
Crazy.
And they have to do conflict of interest disclosures that are relevant to the hospital. And then they are like, well, I don't want to do that. I don't, you can pay me as much money as you want, but you're asking me to do one biopsy in 1 year. And maybe if you recruit a patient, so I have to do all this to just for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we have an IV study like that might require like like just the bag being connected to the pump, and then they will want that person to do like all kinds of things
Yeah,
training wise.
I can see the frustration. I mean, there's a lot of ridiculousness in this industry that
Yeah,
in many ways it's beneficial to certain people who thrive within that chaos and disorganization, but it's a disservice ultimately to the patients and to all of us
yeah,
who are going to take
yeah,
medication at some point in our lives.
yeah,
And so there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but there's always an opportunity for someone else as well.
yeah.
Well, we appreciate it. We're going to look forward to
Yeah.
you speaking on the panel, SOS
Yeah,
in San
yeah,
Diego. Make sure you block your calendar for those March
yeah, of
5th
course.
through 7th. And then Jaime, anything
Yeah.
else you want to wrap? You know Jaime will
No,
be
no.
there. That's his favorite resort.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah,
where
oh
he
yeah,
yeah,
but
we
feel
love.
free to reach out. I think what we'll do is I think any pulmonary studies, I'll if there, there's always a question, do you know anybody? I'll put your names there, okay?
Thank you.
So
Awesome.
that way,
Thank you.
yeah. So that way you guys get the
We have
study, and then
Daniela right here. Well, you
if you're
can't see
doing
her.
fibrosis studies, like reach out to me. Even if you're doing COPD, you need some help, like navigating some question about the inclusion exclusion or PFT testing, things like that. I can help.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
That's really helpful.
Yeah,
Jaime,
Thank
anything else as we wrap up or
No,
you
no, no.
good?
Thank you for your time, Dr. Ramaswamy. We
welcome. Yeah,
appreciate it.
pleasure.
Yeah, definitely. Same
Everybody
here. Thank
follow
you.
him on LinkedIn right now and see him at SOS. Bye-bye.